Good morning and welcome to the Senate Standing Committee on Finance. I'm Senator Catherine Young. Today is Thursday, June 2nd, 2016. We have several bills to consider. We will be starting with the supplemental agenda first, and that is Senate 5302C by Senator Bonner.
Act to amend the racing car mutual wagering and breeding law and the penal law in relation to allowing certain interactive poker games. Motion to report.
Motion to report by Senator Mazzolio, seconded by Senator Marcelino. Discussion.
I'm going to save discussion if and when this bill comes to the floor, but I think there are very broad ramifications for allowing online poker in the state, and that we should at minimum have public hearings so that the community has an opportunity to weigh in on a dramatic change in gambling in the state. Thank you. I'll be voting now.
Thank you, Senator. Any other no votes? Bills reported. Next, we are going to the regular agenda, and we'll start with number 87 by Senator Galvin.
Act to amend the vehicle and traffic law in relation to registration of certain motor vehicles. Motion to report.
Motion to report by Senator Mazzolio, seconded by Senator Marcelino. Discussion? Yes.
What's the estimated fiscal cost?
CME has not provided a fiscal.
So it's moving through finance without our knowing the fiscal cost?
CME has provided that, yeah, we requested it from the
Okay.
I'm sure the staff will try to get that information.
So I'll go without recommendation for now, but I would urge that this will not come to the floor until there's an actual fiscal amount.
Right, as this bill states, it's regarding motor vehicle registration for disabled veterans. So, any other negative votes? Bill is reported. Next, we go to number 358 by Senator Diaz.
Act to amend the older law in relation to authorizing the state office for the aging to implement the caregiver support program for grandparents and other older relatives who are caring for children.
And this is a grandparent caregiver support program. Discussion. Senator Krueger moves the bill, seconded by Senator Mazzolio. Any negative votes? Bill is reported. Next, Senate 389 by Senator Marcelino.
Act to amend the highway law in relation to requiring the development of a program addressing the problem of wrong-way drivers on New York interstate highways.
Discussion. Motion to report by Senator Mazzolio, seconded by Senator Sanders.
I could, but I would.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I would.
Senator Kaminsky. Any negative votes? Bills reported. Next, Senate 544 by Senator Galvin.
Act to amend the social services law in relation to providing relief on statewide central register clearance fees for tax-exempt organizations.
Discussion. Motion. Senator Marcelino moves the bill. Senator Mazzolio seconds. Negative votes. Bills reported. Next, we have Senate 1000D by Senator Plum. Oh, I'm sorry. Senate 742 by Senator Kennedy.
Act to amend the social services law in relation to posting child daycare provider qualifications on the Office of Children and Family Services website.
Discussion. Senator Mazzolio moves. Senator Marcelino seconds. And are there any negative votes? Bills reported. Next, we do have Senate 1000B by Senator Plumkey.
Act to amend the volunteer firefighters benefit law and the volunteer ambulance workers benefit law in relation to payment and benefits.
Motion to report.
Senator Mazzolio moves. Senator Krueger seconds. Any negative votes? Bill is reported. Next, we have Senate 1051 by Senator Ransom.
Act to amend the education law in relation to extending provisions for internal audits by school districts from annual to every 5 years.
Discussion? Yes.
I actually think audits work. They've been quite valuable and in catching problems before they blow up. While there are controllers audits separately, those are never less than 5 years. A lot of things can happen in a 5-year period. I actually think the audit system is valuable and should be changed. Thank you. I'll be voting now.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Senator Mazzolio moves. Senator Marcelino seconds. Any other negative votes? Bills reported. Next, we have Senate 6 1608A by Senator Bonneson.
An act to amend the correction law in relation to the sex offender registry.
Discussion. Okay, Senator Zolli moves, Senator Kaminsky seconds. Any negative votes? Bills reported. Next, we have Senate 1683A by Senator Little.
An act to amend the tax law in relation to granting sales and compensating use tax exemptions for certain tangible personal property and services used in the operation of recreational community facilities.
Motion report.
Senator Mazzoli moves, Senator Marcelino seconds. Discussion?
Sorry, I just want to go on record. I continue to oppose this bill. Skiing is a wonderful sport. We have many recreational activities in the state that people enjoy, but you pay sales tax associated with them. And the businesses that, in fact, sell their services for recreational activities by and large pay sales tax. And I see no justification for exempting out one particular industry, ski sites, from paying sales tax on equipment. So I vote no. Thank you.
So, just to clarify your point, Senator, and this actually gives parity with other outdoor activities such as the apple growers, dairy farms, etc. Skiing is a very important economic development, economic activity in upstate New York. And so I think that it is wise to give these types of incentives and to help these businesses, not only to be able to stay there, but actually grow and grow their jobs. So,
Just for the record, on the argument, we shouldn't sales tax any business because all businesses are economic activity. And one might say, if you represent any business in the state of New York, you would make the argument you shouldn't pay your sales tax either because it's economic activity. Unfortunately, governments need to have tax revenue to provide the services we all need to thrive, including our businesses. So I think making an uneven playing field by selecting out certain types of activity not to be sales tax is probably.
thank you. This is Senator Little's bill.
I apologize, I know nothing to do with it, I didn't tell us. Nevertheless, the genesis of this bill is to try to help out some of the ski areas who, especially this past winter, had to bake snow in order to have skiing in their ski area. So it's similar to a manufacturing thing, and if you're manufacturing a product, but you used to manufacture the product, you don't pay sales tax on. So we're just looking at the electricity, not paying sales tax on that, and also helping them get better equipment to produce snow with less energy as well. And so that they can compete, and they can compete with many. In my district, I have 2 state ski areas as well, and a municipal ski area. So they don't pay sales tax on their energy use. And, they are collecting sales tax on their rentals, they're collecting sales tax on their refreshments, and all of those things that they are selling, equipment at the ski area. So it's just one way of trying to level the playing field in the ski area, help them, because if you cannot manufacture snow, I had one that has no snowmaking equipment, they couldn't even open this year. 2 of them actually in my district alone didn't open at all because they didn't have the snow and the equipment. You can't do it without artificial snow. So it's one way to help them out. And they do contribute a great deal to the economy, especially slow times and eventually tourist areas. So anyway, I appreciate the support that you can get in this bill.
Thank you, Senator Little. That's a great explanation. I think it's a great bill. And do we, so Senator Marcelino moves, Senator Mazzoli seconds. Any other negative votes? Bill is reported. Next, we have Senate 1793 by Senator Ritchie.
An act to amend the agriculture and markets law in relation to the beginning farmer revolving loan fund program.
Motion report.
Senator Mazzoli moves. Senator Krueger seconds. Negative votes? Bill is reported. Next, we have Senate 1995 by Senator Rowland.
An act to amend the civil service law in relation to reimbursement for Medicare charges.
Discussion. Okay, Senator Little moves the bill. Senator Gillespie seconds. Any negative votes? Without right by Senator Krueger. Next, we have bills reported, by the way. Next, we have Senate 2274 by Senator Young.
An act to amend the public law in relation to establishing a home equity protection insurance program.
Motion approved.
Senator Mazzoli moves, Senator Marcelino seconds. Discussion, negative votes, bill is reported. Next, we have Senate 3148 by Senator Croce.
An act to amend the vehicle and traffic law in relation to veteran suspended licenses.
Motion approved.
Senator Mazzoli moves, Senator Boyle seconds. Discussion, negative votes, bill is reported. Senate 3383 by Senator Gold.
An act to amend the executive law in relation to the identification of retired police officers and peace officers.
Senator Little moves, Senator Marcinko seconds. Any discussion?
I'll be available.
So Senator Krueger is a negative vote. Anyone else? Bill is reported. Senate 3580 by Senator Abella.
An act to amend the executive law in relation to designating the month of May as Korean American Family Month.
Senator Little moves, Senator Boyle seconds. Any negative votes? Bill is reported. Senate 3624B by Senator Ward.
An act to amend the public authorities law and the state finance law in relation to a grant program for the agricultural production of biodiesel fuel and a fund for the administration of such program.
Motion approved.
Senator Mazzoli moves, Senator Gillespie seconds. Discussion.
I'm going to vote against this bill. We've been working to develop biodiesel options now for several decades in this country, and the research is in. It's not an answer to our problems. It's not helping us with reduction in our greenhouse gas issues, and I don't think it's justified to continue to incentivize activity through tax exemptions and abatements. There are better models we have discovered. Thank goodness for moving forward with sustainable and green energy, and I hope that the state will move quickly with its commitments to get us where we need to go. Unfortunately, biodiesel does not appear to be getting us there.
Senator Marcinko, did you want to?
Biodiesel could be a big help and could be a part of shifting away from fossil fuels and getting onto a more burning of garbage and our waste and using that for the situation. But what's happening is there's just not enough to do so. If it was more readily available, it would suffice and it would be a leader in the marketplace and helpful in the marketplace. I don't think we should turn away any potential source of alternative fuels at this point in time. All alternatives that we can possibly get available to the homeowner, available to the owner, to make it available and to save energy and to create a better environment. So this is a good bill.
I agree, Senator Marcinko. Now, Senator Krueger, could you say several times that you're against fossil fuels? So what would you suggest?
We are rapidly moving into solar, wind, thermodynamic, other models of energy production that do not have greenhouse gas negative impact. And it's not that I'm opposed to biodiesel, it's that the research shows that even when it's come up to scale in some other countries, particularly around ethanol and corn, it's not having the impacts on the environment that people were hoping. And it's, of course, having an opposite impact on agriculture, driving up the cost of food production for ethanol rather than food. So it has a negative consequence on the economics of some types of farming and food. It doesn't, even though the second stage past corn going into the grasses and the wood chipping, etc., had some hope. The research shows that it's also not having the impact people hoped, and is taking those products away from other things that can be done. So I don't disagree with you, Senator, that our goal is to use every possible alternative to fossil fuels, but at some points in time you have to stop and say, you tried that, that actually didn't work, let's make our investments in models of new energy that are proving to be sustainable and able to come to scale. I don't think it's lack of people who want to try it that's slowing it down. It's the lack of success when trying it.
It's lack of availability. Also, I think your research may be exaggerating the impact on wind and solar. They're a fraction of the marketplace at this point in time, growing and should be growing, but still only a fraction of the marketplace. So therefore, you can't rely on them totally. You need alternatives. You as many different alternatives as we possibly can get. This month, I will cut off any potential fuel at this point in time. It's too soon for them to make that decision.
Madam Chair, if I may, there's no better place, no better real live scientific laboratory for the testing and expansion of biodiesel fuel and other alternative fuels for that matter than in agricultural production. Drive across the farms of our state and you will see windmills, you will see solar panels, you will see utilization of products, waste products from cattle that all are used for alternative fuels. That if there are going to be ways that it can be done in a more effective, cost-efficient manner, it's going to be with agriculture. And that's why this measure makes all the sense in the world to utilize our farms to see how biodiesel can be expanded into the energy mix. And I think that's the intent of this bill, and it makes sense for farmers and for those who are concerned with establishing alternative methods of fuel besides fossil. That's why I think we should be supportive.
Thank you, Senator. I fully agree. Did you want to say?
Just say,
Okay. I do want to say that, just for the record, that this is a very good bill. It not only is good for the environment and not only good for the economy, it's also good for agriculture in New York State, and it's good for out-of-state. It's good for out-of-state, it's good for the entire state, so I would urge everyone to vote yes. So we have how many negative votes?
Motion.
We have 2 negative votes, Senator Khan and Senator Krueger. Bill is reported. Next, we have Senate 3678B by Senator Plummer.
act to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law and the New York State Urban Development Corporation Act in relation to creating a farm investment fund and making an appropriation therefore.
Motion to report.
Senator Zolio moves, Senator Lysenko seconds. Discussion. Any negative votes? Bills are reported. Next, we have Senate 3823A by Senator Candido.
An act to authorize the Commissioner of General Services to transfer and convey certain unappropriated state land to the Village of Freeport.
Question.
So when I review the bill, this transfers land to the Village of Freeport if they make application and meet criteria within a year. What happens to the land if they don't make application or they don't meet the criteria to have the state transfer the land to the village? What happens to the property? That was the question. Is there a reverter in the bill? I didn't see one.
Senator, the land will still be as unappropriated land. It'll stay in the OGS's property.
And again, I think Senator Mazzolio actually asked my question for me. My understanding is most times when we do bills like this, there's a reverter clause, making it so that the revert back to the state, but I don't think I saw that section in this bill. Might you suggest to the sponsor that they amend the bill before it goes to the floor, to clarify the reverting status?
Actually, I think we're going to go ahead and do a great votes. We're going to report this bill and we'll go sort of back to the sponsor.
Stay with that recommendation.
Senator Zolio moves, Senator Will seconds, and votes. Bill is reported Senate 4238B by Senator Stevens.
An act to amend the executive law in relation to enacting the New York Emergency Responder Act.
Discussion. Senator Little moves, Senator West seconds, any votes?
With that recommendation, I think there's liability concerns to be addressed.
Bill is reported. Next, Senate 5968A by Senator Gannon.
An act to direct the Commissioner of Education to distribute certain federal funds.
Motion to report.
Senator Zolio moves, Senator Boyle seconds, any votes? Bill is reported. Next, we have Senate 6437A by Senator Sanders.
Act to amend the executive law in relation to requiring police agencies to take reports of missing adults whenever the adult is reported to be missing.
Discussions. Senator Bill moved, Senator Gillespie seconds. Any votes? Bill is reported. Next, we have Senate 6617 by Senator Ritchie.
Next, to amend the public health law in relation to payments to rural hospitals designated as critical access hospitals.
Motion to approve.
Senator Zolio moves, Senator Gillespie seconds. Any discussion? Negative votes? Bill is reported. Senate, next we have Senate 6658 by Senator Zolio.
Next, to amend the penal law and the correction law in relation to establishing Brittany's law.
Discussion? Yes.
I will be voting no on this bill and the next Senator Zolio bill after very late information came in the form of memos from the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence, who highlighted a number of concerns that these bills would not do what I believe the sponsor hoped, but rather cause new issues for the victims as opposed to the perpetrators. So I would urge everyone to review the memos of the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence and think through the ramifications or the unintended consequences from both of the bills. Even though, again, I believe that Senator Zolio only had good intent with his proposals. So I'll be voting no on both 6658 and also the next bill, 6660. Thank you.
Senator Zolio.
Yes, Madam Chair, my colleagues, this measure and the next measure on the calendar, for all of you who have supported the establishment of Brittany's Law, which is a violent felony offender registry, otherwise known as a way to stop and prevent domestic violence. This House has supported the measure virtually unanimously at least 6 times. What we have tried to do with this measure and the next measure on the calendar is to take virtually verbatim legislation that's introduced in the State Assembly by majority members of the Assembly and incorporate their points into a fashion to establish this registry. In an effort to work in a bipartisan fashion with both houses, we reached out to sponsors in the Assembly and have incorporated their measures before us to give a number of options to establish this registry. I'll reserve remarks further on the floor, but that's the intent of this measure and the next measure on the calendar today.
Just in response, Senator, I don't believe I raised an issue of whether it was a partisan or bipartisan support or
This had nothing to do
opposition.
with your remarks, Senator. I was talking about the fact that we are reaching out in a bipartisan fashion to incorporate active majority-sponsored measures in the State Assembly for an action in the State Senate.
And I guess I would urge you to reach out to the experts in the field of domestic violence to hear from them why they actually have concerns that this would actually not solve the problems they're seeing, but might actually unintendedly cause additional problems to the victims of violence. Because as I know we all agree, our goal is to prevent more violence.
We share that objective, Senator, if I may respond. But I listened to the grandmother of Brittany Passalacqua, who on one day lost her daughter and granddaughter by a domestic violence offender who was brought into the home without the knowledge of those who had been victimized by someone with a history of violence in their past. Those are the experts I'm listening to, the victims who have had this violence perpetrated upon them. The bureaucrats who are so-called experts, I question, and I served for many years as chairman of the Crime Victims, Crime and Corrections Committee of this House. And to me, we are not doing enough to prevent domestic violence. The advocates talk about post-domestic violence care of those victims who have been had violence perpetrated on them. I think there's certainly an important role in that capacity. But what this measure does, what the next measure does, what Brittany's law does, is try to prevent domestic violence before it happens. And that, frankly, I don't believe is being adequately done by the advocates, so-called advocates. I think the victims need to have this information, so they won't be victims in the future.
I think that when this bill comes to the floor, we'll need to have a longer debate, Senator Williams. Thank you, Senator Young.
Sure we all vote.
I just have a technical question about 6660. I was just having trouble finding out what the triggering mechanism is, meaning if you're convicted of X, you're
Senator,
then...
we're on 6658, so could you just hold your question until that we get to that bill? So we're on 6658 right now. We have, Senator Marcelino, Senator Leslie seconds. So we're down. Any other negative votes? Bills reported. Next round, Senate 6660 by Senator D'Anzalio.
I move that the penal law in relation to establishing the crimes of failure to register or verify as a domestic abuse offender in the first and second degrees, and certain other related provisions.
Senator Marcelino moves, Senator Leslie seconds, Senator Kaminsky has a question.
Yeah, I just am interested in what the triggering mechanism is. You have to be convicted of what in order to now have to go register?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. There are certain enumerated felonies upon conviction, triggered to be on the registry. Would you list what those are?
But no misdemeanors?
So the 6660, the bill before the House, has misdemeanors. It has targeted domestic violence crimes that we've been advised are common in domestic violence cases. So strangulation, criminal destruction of breathing are some of the misdemeanors. There's some felonies, stalking. They're listed in the bill. There's quite a few, but they're listed in the bill. Felonies and misdemeanors that are targeted domestic violence crimes. Thank you.
Any other questions? Negative votes? No. Any other negative votes? Please vote Senator Krueger. Bills reported. Next, we have Senate 6725B by Senator Young.
An act to amend the civil service law and the correction law in relation to compensation and other terms and conditions of employment of certain state officers and employees and certain other related provisions.
Motion reported.
Senator Zoto moves, Senator Leslie seconds, negative votes. Bills reported. Next, we have Senate 7601 by Senator Klein.
An act to amend the executive law, the public health law, and the environmental conservation law in relation to the protection of water supplies.
Motion reported.
Senator Zoto moves, Senator Marcelino seconds, negative votes. Bills reported. And finally, we have Senate 7873 by Senator Hannan.
An act to amend the public health law in relation to payments from the New York State Medical Indemnity Fund.
Motion reported.
Okay, Senator Little moves, Senator Zoto seconds, negative votes. The bill is reported. That concludes the Senate Finance Committee meeting today on June 2nd, 2016. We thank all the members for being here.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ray.